Hi, I'm Nicholas Walwork. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Now, if you've heard about office to residential conversions, which I'm sure most of you have, today's going to be a real treat because I'm showing you around our latest scheme here in Newbury in Berkshire. We're on our penthouses, which are micro studio penthouses in our office to residential PD scheme of 42 studios. Looking across the Thames Valley Hills in my background, we're stood on a lovely big balcony area, which is actually bigger than the apartments themselves, incidentally. But, you know, if you're interested in property news, if you're interested in office to residential conversions, all things property, education, and you want to know anything, tips, tricks there is in property, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon on the video below on YouTube to get notified of every new video we've got coming up. It's going to be extremely exciting. But without further ado, let's take a tour of the site. Well, here we're in the first apartment that I'm going to show you. They're all very similar but quite different. You know, when you're working with an office to resi scheme, you've got to work with the building and the fabric of the building you've got, so it can be quite challenging. Each unit, you know, although broadly similar in size and nature, they can be quite quirky in different shapes and sizes, and you know, you've got to work around beams and steel work and all this kind of stuff. So this particular apartment, you know, one of the first things to note is all the brand new windows. These windows throughout the building through 42 units, you can imagine that was a £150,000 to £160,000 cost. So not a cheap cost. So when you're looking at an office to resi conversion, if they've got good enough windows, that could save you an absolute killing. Didn't on this one, but it didn't rule the building out. It's still a cracking building, so we've gone with it. Walking around quickly over to the kitchen area, we've got lots of fixtures and fittings. We've gone for high-spec chrome fixtures and fittings, door entry systems. Now, bear in mind this site isn't finished. We're snagging today, so the next sort of month is snagging, finishing painting, carpets, all that kind of stuff still going in. So there's still a lot of work to be done, so don't mind the dust on the worktops and, you know, not finished polished product. We are on a building site today. We've got 2-ring hobs. You know, this would be a typical micro studio kitchenette, if you will. So it's got everything you need. It's got a microwave oven, you know, combined oven, combi hob. It's got built-in fridge freezers in there as well. And these micro studios, you know, it's about creating, you know, high quality product for a reasonably cheap price, trying to get it as cheaply as possible, but having that, you know, good quality feel to things. Having a good quality feel on the finish means that you can have multiple exit options. And as any investor, you should be exit led. We can let this to professional high-end corporate let clients. We can let it to slightly lower end quality housing association and emergency accommodation type operators. So that's the kitchenette area. Now we're just going to have a quick look at the en-suites we tend to put in. I'm going to go in. Can you excuse me a minute, guys? I just need to do my business. No, only kidding. Come and have a look at the spec inside here. It's quite interesting. If I can squeeze my lovely cameramen in, you know, again, good high quality grey units, reasonable good sized sinks. We use really good wall boards for our units here, so if we can get the camera around and swung around slowly, we can see these kind of units here will save an awful lot of money on tiling and grouting, which can go wrong. So, you know, ultimately it's all about building in stuff that's easy to maintain, easy to run with, but has a good high quality feel. Things like the flooring, we go for a high spec vinyl, and things that can be changed easily every few years, can be changed cheaply, but actually have a really good quality finish. Okay, so into the second apartment. You've seen as I'm walking through the corridor, there's apartments off in every direction, 42 in total across the 3 stories, with an undercroft car park, and there's also a car park out to the rear, which we might well end up in a moment. As we're in this apartment, I wanted to just quickly talk about snagging. Those of you that have done development before will understand what snagging is. Ultimately, it's where you come towards the end of a development and you're going around and nitpicking. You know, you're going around and picking all the bits that the builders and the painters might have missed.
Snagging, the process of checking a new building for minor faults that need to be rectified.
So you'll go and you'll make a snag list for each and every apartment, and you know, this is a good example of snagging where there's bits of paint on here. For example, that's a bit of paint or filler I can see on the end of the glass there. We haven't had the builders clean yet, as far as I'm aware, so actually we probably wouldn't do snagging until that was done, because stuff like that would be under a builder's clean. They would actually clean off bits of paint and glass off the fixtures and fittings and things like that. But snagging is an important part of any development, specifically bigger developments where there could be an awful lot of snagging, and you don't want to pay your builder in full until you've gone through that process with them and made sure you're completely happy with the final product. Let's have a quick walk out into the balcony and you can show you this is actually a lovely unit with corner It's a corner plot, so there's 2 lots of balcony available to this tenant, 2 lots of glass. Again, all lovely doors have been installed here. That one's not open, so we'll head over to this door and let's have a look outside. So micro penthouses, guys, you know, who's heard of that? You have now. So micro penthouses, again, look, we're in Newbury, we're not in Oxfordshire in the rolling country hills, but you can see a bit of hills over in the distance, and we're in the town centre of Newbury. We're about 100 metres from the high street, you know, good quality units at an affordable price. That's what we do at Red Brick. We build, you know, apartments for a price point that's needed. You know, if you're looking to rent in most towns for a, you know, normal studio 1-bed style apartment, you then got to lump on all your bills, your council tax, 120 quid, gas, water, electrics, broadband, all of those kind of costs add up. So you're kind of £700, £800 rent for a studio, plus all those bills, you can easily be up over the £1,000 mark for your all-in costs. We'll be charging you at around about the 800, 850 mark for these kind of units, maybe sort of 950 for the really nice luxury ones on the top with the huge balconies. So we price our stuff that's affordable for the market that's needed today, and that's why we're so successful, because we're supplying a demand that's out there. You know, what's interesting is local governments, local councils tend to throttle the planning process in our experience. You know, you get all these great PD rights coming down from the government, but actually when you get to the local authority level, and any local authority planners out there listening, please take this, and you know, please take this grievance from a property developer. They tend to throttle the process and stop certain developments going through and try and throttle it. And we understand the need for a level of control, but ultimately, you know, we're building what people need. If you went for a planning application for 42 studios in one block, you'll be flat right refused before you even get through the blooming door of the council. You know, that's well over saturation, over demand. But actually, quality units of a fair size, and ours are about 20 to 25 square metres on average. You know, they're not furnished today, which is a shame, so we'll do a future video on that. So make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon to see that. That'll come in a few weeks' time when we've got it all fully furnished. You'll see how living space is, you know, highly usable in a slightly smaller unit, and that's what we need right now in the UK. Massive undersupply of property. We need this kind of quality accommodation. Let's carry on with the tour. I always seem to end up with paint. Doesn't matter how hard I try, I get some somewhere. It was a bit noisy. We're on the stairs outside, just coming onto the 2nd floor. This is the rear fire escape. We've got 2 entrances and exits to the building. Bit noisy because we've got the jet washers here today. As you finish the development, you sort of go often top down or bottom up, depends which way you know the services and the layout of the building works for you. Ultimately, the outside's always done last, obviously, because the builders and the painters, everyone's making a mess. So today over here, you can see we've got the jet washers in. They're jet washing all the brick, finishing any little pointing, basically cleaning the building, giving it a good spruce up. Let's have a look through the 2nd floor. So I'm going to talk to you now about safety. It's just occurred to me as I walk past this smoke vent here. Safety is all important in any development. I don't know about you, but I want to sleep at night, and I want my tenants to sleep at night and be as safe as possible. I don't want any calls in the morning with fire going off where one of my tenants is in danger. That's the worst possible scenario in my mind as a developer. So, you know, I'm going to go through the units now and just point out a couple of safety features that we have to implement as part of a building development. This is a conversion, but actually we still build to new build specifications. That's important because we're then up to the latest standard. And here at the moment we can see a smoke vent which is covered over for painting, but ultimately there's a big smoke vent in here. And this is an L-shaped building, and we're at the sort of point of the L here. So because this was the furthest point to the exits, we've had to install this smoke vent, which has a big AOV, which is an automatic opening vent and valve. I'm not sure what it actually stands for, but on the top of the building, it opens up and sucks all the smoke from the middle of the building through these vents that are on each floor. So this is a big fallout of Grenfell, the Grenfell disaster, which we all, I'm sure, have heard about in London in recent years, and that, you know, brought about some brilliant change that was much needed in the industry. This is one of those items that's now been specified. We've not had to do it on previous sites, so yeah, a nice, interesting bit of safety for you to know there. Going into a couple of these units, let's go into this unit actually. No, let's go into this unit. It's a bit cleaner. On the doors, we've got fire incandescent strips, so that stops the smoke coming through the doors. It's another safety feature, and often you'll get ones that will either swell up to create a seal, or you get the ones with the fibre on, which will stop the smoke coming through the doors. It gives you extra time to survive when you're in your apartment. You've also got the self-closers on every unit, which closes the door. These are not supposed to be propped open in normal situations. We are on a development site at the moment, and none of the fire alarm is live anyway. And we're into the apartment now. So this is a bit of a quirky apartment, being one of the corner apartments. And again, you know, I love the design of these buildings where you kind of squeeze in apartments where you shouldn't be able to squeeze them in, and you create actually some of the best apartments in the building are those that have a bit of a quirky nature. Another nice unit here, kind of interesting in design. This one's got the ensuite off the side. And again, hopefully what you're seeing is all the units, although they're sort of similar size, this one's slightly bigger than the one we just come from, but you know, they're all unique. They're all built around the fabric of the building. And this one's got, you know, lovely big ensuites in there. You know, that's actually got a double width shower because we could. And the reason that's there actually, and you'll be able to see on camera in a moment, is that this corner is where that AOV, that smoke vent sits. So we've lost a bit of floor space because of that, which is always unfortunate as a developer. You want to maximise every square foot. Every square foot is either sales value or rental value. So, you know, although these safety measures are there for a reason, they do take away a little bit of your GDV. You do have to, you know, map them into your finance costs and make sure that they are covered in any development you're doing. So nice big unit, you know, nice big ensuite in there. And actually on this one, you've got a nice little galley kitchen. Its own window. You can hear the jet washing going on downstairs, so excuse the noise, but you know, this one's actually segmented quite nicely. And when we come to furnish it, you'll see how it comes alive. And the spaces, although you think, oh, that looks a bit small, you know, 20, 25 square meters, when you start to furnish it and see that you can actually live by using the space creatively, you know, you'll see how incredible these units are and how they're, you know, at the forefront of modern housing, and I believe there's a huge need for these going forward. Bit of a funky staircase here. We were lucky to get this. I'm not going to call it a monstrosity because, well, I am because of the weight of it. This sheer concrete, beautiful spiral staircase actually was part of the fabric of the building in the first place. So we're going to retain that, paint it all up, paint all this grey, lovely matching carpets and stuff, and actually going to make a really nice feature. So we're here at the entrance, the main entrance to the building, which is the front of the building off Oxford Road in Newbury. Now, you can see we've got a new door system in here. What we've actually done is halve the door size from the original entrance. So we've allowed half of that space, which is about probably another 2 meters worth of space to be incorporated into the unit. So come on in and I'll show you the inside of this unit. So this would have been part of the original door. As you can see, there's quite a bit of space there. You are about maybe just slightly under 2 meters worth of space, but that's allowed us to create another whole unit in here. So, you know, fantastic use of space. It's allowed a bit of extra GDV on the side, a bit of extra rental, and a good quality home at an affordable price for someone. You know, similar spec to everything, but you know, a little bit more work to do on this ground floor. We've started top down today, where we were sort of up to cleaning and final painting on the top 2 floors. On this floor, a little bit more work to be done, but we're still only a month away from completion. Got a service, oh, that's all paint. I was going to say there's a service cupboard in there, but it's covered me in paint, so we'll ignore that one. You see here again the smoke vents, similar to the top floor. This goes throughout the building at that L shape, suck all the smoke in, keep everyone nice and safe. So a little bit more work to be done on these floors. You can see a lot more cleaning. The guys are still using this as a cutting room for finishing off the last bits of kitchen and architrave and the last bits and bobs to be done there. But again, you can see lovely dual aspect windows. We're down to the ground floor now, so the view's not quite as nice. You can't see as far, but ultimately we've got some trees outside and around. There is an office next door, but this is town centre. You know, lovely little units. You can imagine the kind of bed over there. You'd have a dining room table and chairs sat over here in the corner, so you can be looking out over the trees and the windows. Big TV on the wall. It's got everything you need. Just walking around to the front of the building now, trying to avoid the jet washing going on at the back of the building, but as you can see the building here, if you can have a quick pan up, see all the new windows gone in. This hasn't been jet washed and cleaned yet, but it's starting to look nice. We've got a lovely big car park at the rear as well. If we can quickly pan around here, I think we're getting about 20 odd spaces out the back here, and there's about another 20 odd downstairs in the undercroft. So we're getting an awful lot of parking on site, which is amazing. As we go, let's talk about parking. Ultimately, parking can be one of the, under PD schemes, under PD rules, parking in highways is one of the reasons that the council can give for refusing access, for refusing the planning, the prior notification planning process for PD schemes. So you've got to be aware, you've got to be prepared to potentially do a highway scheme, and to minimise your risk, you want to have as much parking as possible, ideally meeting the minimum new build parking standards. You've got to hit the minimum parking standards usually, but it does depend on the borough. And what's interesting, as we go into the Undercroft here, and I'll show you this, borough by borough, we're in West Berkshire at the moment, and West Berkshire, if you're watching this, please comment. I'd like to know, why on earth do you need full parking requirements for a site of this size that's in the town centre? When we operate in other towns like Reading, where we have a number of sites, certainly London, they want parking less schemes, which is no parking. Now you'd be a bit screwed, wouldn't you, if you came from London or Reading or another bit more of a cosmopolitan town than somewhere like Newbury, which is like one town away, but maybe the councils aren't quite up to speed on what's actually needed yet. If you were to come from one of those, or the other way around, come from Newby and buy in Reading, maybe you're wasting your money on a massive car park that's not needed. So under here, we've got a load of work going on. Hopefully the camera's picking up. It's got a bit dark as we've come in here, but we've got huge electrics, huge waterworks going on. A 42 unit scheme, we're not talking about a small boiler and a small Magnaflow. We're talking a little bit more serious stuff here. So this is one of the electrical cupboards, I believe, starting to go in. Extra overflow here. So we've got massive water heaters. You can see the level of piping. And up here, I don't know if we can get a camera shot of this, all of the wiring coming from above. And this is all armour cable, which has got metal cables going through it, so no one can accidentally cut through it, or you certainly can't cut through it too easily. Look at the size of those water tanks needed to service 42 full studios. Massive water tanks. We have had, and this, it's a good point to talk about at this moment, the utilities into a building. When you're doing a bigger development, it's very likely you're going to need your utilities upgraded. So that's water, that's electrics, could be gas if you've got it. We still don't have the water connected here, and we've owned this site for 2 years. We were building the planning process up for the first 9 to 12 months, and it's taken about 9 to 12 months to build by the time we're finished snagged and start physically letting out. I mean, okay, we've had COVID, so there's been 2 or 3 months of no action, so that's caused a delay with things like services. They're still not in, it's very frustrating, and we're within a few weeks of being able to let the building. So that would be the defining factor, is actually getting the water physically connected. We've actually got a temporary connection up now to test the plumbing throughout the building. We can't actually hook up, you can see we can't hook up the mains water systems until that's done. So there was a bit of a tour of Red Brick House here in Newbury, our latest office to residential PD scheme. Hopefully you've picked up some tips and tricks there. We'll do another update when it gets furnished, and we can do a full-on walk round to show you how we're using the space. If you'd like more content and educational material, please do click subscribe, hit the bell icon and make sure you get more videos. But ultimately, this site, 42 unit conversion scheme, it was about 10,500 square foot originally. We've turned that into 42 high quality micro studios that could be used for a variety of uses. We're primarily going to use it for professional lets. The GDV of the scheme, we've got it valued at our latest valuation of about £6.1 million. We paid about £2.25 million for it, and the development cost to build it have cost around £2 million. So you can see there's a good profit margin to be made. There's a bit of finance cost added in on top of that as well, but depending on how you're financing it, you'll be able to vary your own finance costs accordingly. So, office to residential, what's great about it is you can convert stuff the way you want, as long as you bear in mind some of the key principles. Keep an eye out on the current PD rules. They're changing all the time. They've come out recently now. We're talking in September 2020. New rules have come out. We're moving to the Class E PD system, so you need to make sure you're not caught by any of that. Make sure your planning consultant's fully up to speed on what you're looking at and what you're buying. But exciting opportunities here. Red Brick House. Can't wait to get it let.